Hello, here I am back again, and today I am going to show you how I paint a tree. I'm using a limited palette. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. I know a couple of you said you were intimidated by um, painting a tree for that scene with the barn that we're doing. So that's why I decided to go ahead and just show you a way to do it, so that there's many ways, but this is hopefully simplifying it for you. Alright, so we're going to mix raw umber, which is right here, and ultramarine blue, and we're going to use cad yellow, and I'm just mixing it. It's quite dark, and we're going to put that just get your dark values. You can use this kind of a round brush, any brush really, but a bristle brush works quite well because it's kind of tough. I also use, you can use a square shader, anything like that will work. It doesn't have to be, okay, this particular round brush. So basically, I'm using a very limited palette. So you have the raw umber, ultramarine blue, you add the cad yellow to it, cad yellow light, and you get a beautiful, almost like an olive green color. Now, you have a choice to just do it, to just start putting paint on like this. Now you can come in with another brush. If you know that you are doing the sky, so I've got some white here, titanium white and blue. So I'm going to put some around. See, just do it. Don't be intimidated. Just get the way you want to mix your sky. You first bring out your white, and then you add your blue to it. That keeps it pretty safe. That way you can always go darker if you want to do that. So right now I'm just putting a little bit of blue right there, kind of where where the foliage is going to be. At this stage, everything is going to look a little bit messy to you. So don't worry about that. We're not there yet. So just get the color in there, the dark values. Up in here, it doesn't have to be as dark. Now I'm just sort of doing this. I'm not looking at a picture of a tree, but I think it's a good idea. I just wanted you to see the process and the amount of paint that you do, and that you don't have to be that careful. Now in here, I am adding even darker color. I'm going to go all the way down. You can use liquid or linseed oil. Those are very good medias to use. I think I'm going to go off the canvas to a couple places. Okay, so now I have here what is called a wipeout tool. Sometimes you can make your own with just the end of a brush. I don't know if it's going to scrape as well, but let me see. This is a brush also that I did not clean it, so it got stiff. So you can use that also, just to mark. If you're wiping out is what this is, wiping out some of that paint. So another way to do that is to, if you don't have your wipe out tool, then you can also get your paper napkin and make fold it into a very tight, and this works just as well. See, now right in here, now I want to start lifting some color where the trunk is. As you go closer to the trunk, then those wipeouts that I do are going to be a little bit thicker than the ones out here. Now another way to emphasize that is I come in here with a round brush and you mix your ultramarine blue and raw umber, and see, I am going in between those branches. So now now I'm emphasizing the values. This is the different degrees, and that just a value, and that just makes this little branches show up more. See that? And underneath, I'm doing that even more so, more dark. Especially with that painting, we're going to be having a lot of grassy, tall grass in this area. And it's also going to be a lot of wiping out. So right now I just sort of want to blend this together. So I could see why, if you're just starting to paint and you're in this middle of the road kind of thing, you're going to just get discouraged, and you're going to say, oh, this is a mess that I'm making, it's not working out. But nope, see, don't feel that way, because it's just the in-between stage. All right, so now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to wipe out a little more. So the way I do that is I come in here, you didn't see this part, but I just dipped my brush into the turpentine a little bit, or mineral spirits, whatever it is that you're working. And I wanted to lift a little bit of a highlight there. I'm adding a tiny bit of red because the red and the green are opposites and in the color wheel, and once you mix them together you start to get a beautiful rich brown. It won't read as green and it won't read as red. It's just going to read as a beautiful branch. Yeah, so, and over here we're going to do more things to it. A little bit of highlight. Now, I want you to see something right here. That's how you're going to get your grass, okay? But we'll do that later. I'm just showing you that that's where we're headed. All right, so now let's do some more foliage. I'm getting a little yellow, more yellow added to the ultramarine blue. And there's some branches in here, right? But I'm going to go across them. I don't have to see the whole branch. I can just intercept like this, an area of them. Also, I'm going to go over here and do that a little bit. So I'm going now in this direction with a slightly lighter value than the bottom, than the underneath painting. So I'm leaving some of that very dark. So now, what you're going to notice is that here we are again. We have the values, the light value, dark value, and medium. And I'm sure there's others in between. Okay. This here, I can bring out a little more. Don't ask me the type of tree because I don't know, but it is a good idea if you want to shoot, to have a study of one, that if you want to go by something. All right, so now the next step is with a small brush, kind of it can be you're going to come in here and paint little dabs of paint. So it's going to read, hopefully, as leaves. So, especially if you do them where there is the darker paint, and you're going to don't line them up like little soldiers. You want to stagger them and kind of just, sometimes you want to do little slashes, not all just little balls. So you want to make them look like again, you want some light some small, medium, and large. Now up in here, see, you get even smaller ones and some soft edges. You want to keep some soft edgy ones, and some I won't have time to finish the whole thing, but I just wanted you to get the idea. I'll come back and show you how I finish it, but this is, or I'll do the next part. It'll be another video where I continue with this. Now, that's how you do it. Also, at this point, I like to show you that load your brush with some dark paint, and which in this case it's the raw umber, and you can drag out some of those branches. See where I lifted it and picked up that wiped out that white. Well, I don't want to. You don't want to leave the whole thing just pure white. You can intercept it with some brown, dark raw umber, some nice, so that if you have your script brush or your liner or your rigger, any of those brushes would be pretty good to use right now. And I'm looking for mine, but okay, here it is. Found mine. Let me see. And when I do that, I like to get kind of inky, which means just a little more fluid. Let's see if I can get some. Okay, so that's how you make things a little interesting. So this here is liquidy, but it needs to have enough pigment in it still. At the same time, while I'm at it, while I have this beautiful rich color, I'm going to shade this tree, add a little texture to it. Okay, so you can still extend it, soften some of those with, I'm using now a round brush that is dry brush, so that I can soften those edges and maybe lift some highlights from those certain areas, like those long branches. You don't want them solid all the way, so you can use a dry brush to get you to that point. Okay, now this one is a little too, so now I'm going to soften this a little bit. I'm going to be having some grass in here. Okay, and then just continue with your little leaves here like I did. You can continue filling it up with that. And yeah, I'm going to keep painting on this, getting the rest of my leaves and the sky, the blue. I'm going to finish in here, and we'll continue with the next steps. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful.